Welcome back, everybody, to the Deep Dive. This time, we're going deep on a question that's both fascinating and, I don't know about you, but a little unsettling for me.
Okay.
Can AI really write poetry? And if a machine can make poetry,
Right.
what does that even mean for creativity? We've got two great articles for this deep dive.
Okay.
AI and the poetic imagination, and then exploring AI creativity beyond human mimicry.
All right.
So let's see what we can find out.
So you found some AI-generated songs out there. Do you think they were actual poetry?
Well, there's this one, Daddy's Car, that's actually pretty catchy, I gotta admit.
Uh-huh.
But I think what really hit me reading these articles was just how much technical skill AI has developed.
Yeah.
Like there's this neural network, DeepSpear. It was trained on all of Shakespeare's works.
Wow.
And it can compose sonnets that sound like they're straight from Shakespeare.
That's right. And DeepSpear is really fascinating. It uses natural language processing and these recurrent neural networks to basically analyze patterns in language and then imitate them.
Wow.
It can even pick up on things like meter and rhyme scheme, which are so important for traditional poetry.
Yeah, and one of the sonnets it wrote starts with, "When I do see the violet pass prime."
Oh, wow.
I mean, it's technically impressive, but it doesn't really have that emotional depth you expect with Shakespeare.
Exactly. And that's kind of where we hit a wall with AI as a poet. Poetry, at its heart, it's an expression of the poet's inner world, shaped by, their experiences, their emotions, their whole life story.
Right.
And AI just doesn't have those human experiences to pull from.
So it's like AI can make a perfect copy, but it's missing the soul.
Yeah.
That human element that makes poetry so powerful.
Right.
The articles mention this poetry competition in Japan.
Oh, yeah.
And an AI poem actually made it to the final round.
Wow.
The judges couldn't even tell it wasn't written by a human.
That's a great example of AI blurring the lines between human and artificial creativity,
Yeah.
But it makes you think. Are we going to start putting more value on technical skill over, genuine emotion?
That's a good point.
Yeah.
And like if AI is just rearranging what humans have already created, is that really creative? Or is it just like super advanced copying?
That is a question with no easy answers.
Right.
And it's definitely something we're going to have to think more and more about as AI gets, more advanced.
Yeah, as AI keeps evolving.
What's interesting, though? Exploring AI creativity, it actually argues that maybe this whole debate about AI, lacking human experience, it's actually limiting how we think about what AI creativity could be.
So instead of focusing on what AI can't do, we should look at what it can do.
Right.
But how do you even define creativity if it's coming from something that doesn't have feelings, or experiences like we do?
Well, the article suggests that we should shift our thinking away from the intent of the creator and more to, the effect it has on the audience. So instead of asking, does the AI feel sad when it writes this poem?
Right.
We ask, does this poem make the reader feel sad?
So it's not about the AI having the same experience as like a human artist.
Yeah.
It's about whether it can create art that has a similar effect on us.
Exactly. Think about it this way.
Okay.
So a human composer, they might write, a heartbreaking melody and it's inspired by a personal loss they experienced. But in AI, it might analyze thousands of pieces of music and figure out what patterns make listeners feel sad.
Okay.
Even if it doesn't feel sad itself, it could still make music that, has that same emotional impact.
I see what you mean. But isn't there a difference between genuine emotion and just kind of manipulating emotions, in a calculated way?
Right.
Like if an AI can predict exactly what will make me cry, is that kind of cold?
That's a really good point. And, that brings up some ethical questions for sure.
Yeah.
But let's stick to the creativity for now. What this is saying is that AI might be opening up totally new ways of being creative.
Yeah.
Ways that we as humans with our, human biases might not even be able to understand yet.
Yeah. It's definitely a different way to think about creativity.
Right.
But what really blew my mind
What's that?
was the article comparing AI algorithms to how the human brain works.
Oh, yeah.
Is it just me, or is that connection just wild?
It's a super fascinating parallel.
Yeah.
So you've got AI algorithms and the human brain, and they both learn and adapt based on input.
Okay.
AI changes its algorithms based on patterns in data. And our brains, they strengthen or weaken neural connections based on, our own experiences.
So they're both basically responding to information from the world and changing because of it.
Exactly.
That makes you wonder, if there's a deeper connection between human and artificial intelligence than we even realize.
Right. And this shared mechanism of learning and adapting could completely change how we see AI creativity. If our brains and AI algorithms are working on a similar level, maybe we shouldn't be so quick to dismiss what AI can do.
Okay, so this is making my head spin a little bit.
Yeah.
We've got AI that can copy human creative forms, but it doesn't have that same internal experience.
Yeah.
But maybe that doesn't matter as much as we think, because it can still create art that affects us.
Mm-hmm.
And the way it learns is surprisingly similar to how our brains work.
Yeah.
So where do we even go from here?
Well, exploring AI creativity, it points to the potential for humans and AI to work together.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
And we're already seeing that happening in music and visual art.
Okay.
Like visual artists, they're using programs like Dial-A and Midjourney.
Oh, yeah, those are the ones where you, type in a description, and the AI makes a unique image, right?
Exactly.
I read about this artist who used Midjourney to make these crazy, detailed landscapes.
Yeah.
Looked like something out of a dream.
It's really cool stuff.
Yeah.
And musicians are using AI to come up with, harmonies, melodies, even lyrics.
Wow.
It's becoming less about AI replacing humans and more about humans and AI working together to, push those boundaries of creativity.
So instead of being afraid of AI, we should see it as a new kind of creative partner.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to look at it.
And that is a more hopeful way to look at it. But I do wonder, what happens to the human artist in all this?
Right.
Are we just going to become obsolete?
I don't think so.
Okay.
In fact, I think human creativity, it's more important now than ever.
How so?
AI can make technically impressive stuff,
Right.
but it still can't connect with human experience on that really deep level.
Oh, okay.
AI can give us the tools, but it's still the human artist who brings the vision, the emotion, that uniquely human story.
So maybe it's not about AI versus humans.
Right.
It's about finding ways for both to work together.
Yeah.
Each one bringing something different to the table.
Exactly.
That makes me wonder, though, what does all this mean for the future of art? Are we going to see, galleries full of AI paintings?
It's already starting to happen. We're seeing AI art being sold at auctions. AI is writing music for movies and video games.
It's really happening.
Yeah, those lines are definitely getting blurry, and I think it's pushing artists to be even more creative and innovative.
Almost like AI is making us really think about what it means to be creative.
Right.
And what the purpose of art even is. But, it makes me wonder if we're losing something important in the process.
What do you mean?
There's something so powerful about art that comes from human experience.
Yeah.
From joy, sorrow, love, loss.
Yeah.
Can AI really capture that?
That's a really deep question, and I don't think anyone has the answer yet.
Right.
But one thing both articles talk about is that maybe we need to change how we define creativity.
Okay.
Like, what if we're too focused on where that creativity comes from? On whether it comes from a being that's conscious and has feelings, instead of focusing on how that art affects us?
So instead of asking if the AI feels something,
yeah,
we should ask if the art makes us feel something.
Right.
I mean, that takes the pressure off the AI a little bit, right?
Exactly.
It doesn't need to have a soul or some complicated inner life to be creative.
And what if the fact that AI doesn't have those human experiences actually lets it tap into creative possibilities that we, with all our baggage,
right,
and, human biases, wouldn't even be able to imagine?
That is a really interesting way to look at it.
It is.
AI is giving us a whole new way to see creativity, one that's less about the intention and more about just the act of creation and what effect it has.
Exactly.
I'll be honest. I was a little skeptical about AI poetry at first, but this whole deep dive has really opened my mind.
I think it's been a good exploration.
It has. So is there anything else from the articles that you think our listeners should really think about?
I think the biggest takeaway is this. If AI can create art that moves us, that inspires us, that challenges us, does it really matter if it came from a machine? Or are we seeing a whole new era of art?
Right.
One where the lines between human and, artificial are getting blurred.
Wow. That is a really powerful thought.
It is.
I'm going to be thinking about that one for a while.
Me too. It's a conversation that's really just beginning.
Well, huge thanks to you for sharing your expertise with us.
Of course.
This has been an amazing deep dive.
It has.
And to our listener, thank you for joining us.
Yes, thank you for listening.
Keep exploring, keep questioning.
I keep learning.
And keep your mind open to all the possibilities that art and AI can create together.
I think that's a great way to put it.
And until next time, everybody keep those creative sparks flying.
Yes, keep creating.
Whether it's human-powered or AI-assisted.
Exactly.